Well, good morning and welcome back to the fabulous final segment here on CityLine. With me, I have an individual who I could probably talk all day with because it's one of my favorite topics, and that happens to be elections and politics. So with me, I have Michael Rooney. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so glad you're glad to be here because I'm glad to have you here. You are the election manager for Pierce County Auditor's Office, and we have a lot to talk about, don't we?
Yes, we do.
We do. So let's get on it here because there's a lot to say. So first off, what is new for voters this year? Because voting is so important. We want to take a big national view and know that if ever our votes counted, it's coming up here in the midterms, the primaries, because that's where all of the change happens. For better or for worse, it happens, doesn't it?
I think the big news for the voter this year is that they can now return their ballot postage free. So there's
yes.
no stamp.
Excuse.
No stamp is needed. So
that's huge.
That is huge, and no matter whether they put it in the one of our ballot drop boxes or if they put it in the United States postal box, they don't have to put a stamp on it.
So, Mike, what was the impetus for going this way? Were you finding that ballots were being sent in, and it's like, great, there's no stamp, so now it doesn't count?
Well, it basically started kind of a statewide movement.
Yeah, okay.
And also in King County saying, we'd like to be able to return these and remove that barrier because you hear from certain people, well, I don't mail anything anymore. I don't even have a stamp. So we wanted to remove that barrier. So that was really why it happened.
I love that.
And the one thing that about it is I still like to encourage all of our voters that they still may want to use our drop boxes, because I think our drop boxes provide a certain degree of certainty. That that I put in that box, I know I got it in on time, it's going to get counted. Plus, that'll also save some tax-saving dollars by using our boxes.
That's right, exactly. So what else is new this year?
So continuing on that, I'd just like to remind voters about deadlines. So if you're going to use a postal service box, the deadline is it needs to be postmarked on election day. So I always say, look at the outside of the box or right inside the lid. When's this box closing? If it says that last pickup is at 2 o'clock, you don't want to drop it in at 3 o'clock on election day because it's going to get postmarked. We're not like the IRS. They don't postmark until midnight. So please be aware of that if you're dropping your ballot off on election day. Our drop boxes, they close at 8 p.m. on election day. So just make sure you meet those deadlines.
Absolutely. I got to tell you, I'm a drop box girl. There's something about putting it in there. I don't know, maybe it goes back to the old days of walking to the mailbox and going, you know how you put it in, you close it, and you look again to make sure.
Yep.
It's that same kind of feeling of, I want to make sure that my ballot went in the drop box.
Right, and you know it's there.
Absolutely. Tell us more. What else is
Okay, this year we're also putting in an independent observer program. So for a number of, throughout history, we've always had Democratic observers and Republican political party observers. We, as the Elections Division and the Pierce County Auditor, we also know that some individuals and some voters don't really want to associate with a party. They'd rather be independent. So this year we started up an independent observer program. It's being coordinated through the League of Women Voters as being the coordinator of that program. And so if people are interested in viewing that process and becoming an observer, and either with the Democratic, Republican, or as an independent, contact us. We can go ahead and get them in touch with the coordinator and get them through training. I'd urge them to do that quickly. We actually have some trainings coming up next week.
Okay.
So we have that on the horizon. And the one thing, of course, any voter can come in and see our processes.
I was going to say,
We have a long hallway, many windows. You can see your ballots being opened. You can see that the ballots being tabulated through our scanners. So anyone's allowed to do that, but being credentialed as an observer gets you on the election floor at our side watching our processes. and also you're involved in any of our pre-testing where we conduct logic and accuracy tests and our post-election audits to make sure that everything is being counted correctly.
That is, that is the definition of transparency. I had the pleasure and privilege of being in that room this last election, and Julie Anderson gave me a beautiful tour and explained everything. And I was so impressed by what a well-oiled machine it was, first off. Secondly, the caliber of people. Julie said many of these people have been here time and time again, and we have some new people on the floor. But also the checks and balances are unbelievable. So, when you talk about adding an independent observer, yes, I love that. Good on you.
Well, we're very proud of our elections division. I have an outstanding team.
You do.
That they're committed, and they're committed to making sure we carry out elections accurately and transparent throughout Pierce County.
All right. Anything else new?
One last thing, just last year we switched to a new ballot. New tabulation system. Some voters, this may be the first time that they're using that ballot. It's very simple, it's easy and intuitive. You just fill in the bubble next to your choice. So no more connect the arrow, just fill in the bubble. And
just like you were in school, taking those tests.
Just like school, just like tests.
I love that. So let's talk about the upcoming primary.
Sure. So primary election day is August 7th. So
mark your calendars.
Yep, it's just around the corner. If you're looking to register, our deadline to register either online or through the mail is this coming Monday, July 9th.
Wow.
So that's one thing to remind voters, get out and register. If you miss that deadline and you've never been registered in the state before, there's another chance. There's an in-person deadline that goes through July 30th.
Okay.
So those are the deadlines. We're going to be mailing our voters pamphlet.
Oh, let's see.
And this is what it looks like. So
there it is. Good.
That's the voters pamphlet for this election. That's going to be going out on July 12th. On July 20th, you'll be getting your ballot. So the ballot's going to be coming out. It's a blue colored ballot. It says official ballot enclosed. So watch for that.
Okay.
And so I expect those voters will be getting that the Saturday, the Monday, the Tuesday between July 20th and 24th. If for any reason by July 27th you don't have a ballot, that's that following Friday, give us a call. We want to go ahead and we'll look up your record, make sure it's current, make sure we have the right mailing address for you. And if needed, we'll send you out a replacement ballot.
Okay, excellent. Good, all right.
Our military and overseas ballots, those have already gone out. So they went out 45 days before the election. So
thank you for that.
Those individuals already have that ballot. Some of them have already returned those ballots to us.
Good, all right. Because our JBLM peeps are very important to us, and those that are serving our country overseas. You can tell I was a military brat because I use the word overseas. Important that they get a chance to vote.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, good.
So when you return your ballot,
so
this is what the envelope looks like when it comes back. And you can see here, this is now saying no postage necessary. So we're reminding them there. One reminders that I like to give on this is make sure you read this declaration and sign it. And also I urge voters to go ahead and when they're doing this to just take a second and make sure that this is their name over here. Every election we get some ballots back where they're unsigned. Or two members in the same household, they sign each other's envelopes. So take that 1 second, make sure it's your ballot and sign it.
There you go.
Okay.
Just the simplest things that we have to carry, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, good. You talked about logic and accuracy testing. Expand upon that for me in just a second. I mean, just for a second, and tell me what that entails.
So as we prepare for each election, we have, the first step is we design our ballots and we have our ballots printed. And during that process, we are also setting up our election to know where all the candidates are on the ballot and make sure we have them all on the ballot and to count them correctly. And the logic and accuracy is a test, we do pre-testing leading up to it. And then we conduct a logic and accuracy test typically, it's also, whenever we have state items on the ballot, it's observed by the Office of the Secretary of State, so they send a representative. Our political party observers are also involved in it, so our Ds and our Rs and our independent observer now can all watch it. And beforehand, we mark the ballots, and we know how the ballots should be counted. And then we go ahead and we scan the ballots through and make sure that they're counting accurately and correctly.
Excellent. I love that. Excellent. All right. So when we talk about ballots, and we talked about the overseas ballot, what if you have a member of your family who is deceased and they're still getting ballots?
So there's an easy way is just contact us, and we will, any family member can easily fill out a little form that would then cancel that voter.
Excellent. All right. So let's talk about some of the laws impacting elections now.
So as far as laws impacting, this year the legislature did pass a number of bills or laws. Most of them go effect next year, but probably the big one is Election Day registration, which will allow voters to register to vote and to vote up to and through Election Day.
Wow.
So all those deadlines that I just talked about
will be gone.
The majority of them will be gone. So it's removing that barrier that you no longer will have to hit that 29-day deadline to get registered, that you can register, register and vote, essentially.
My mouth is hanging open a bit. I'm shocked, but I'm also just elated because, wow, what a gift. There really is no excuse now.
That's a big change, and you're right.
It's huge. Okay, what else?
Other things, youth registration.
Yes, let's talk about that.
So 16 and 17-year-olds will be able to pre-register to vote. So as a young person goes in and they're getting their first driver's license or ID card, they can get signed up for voting.
Perfect.
So that'll be a function that'll happen through as they're getting their driver's licenses. The voting age remains 18, but at least that's one of the first contacts that we have, and we'll get them pre-registered and signed up for voting purposes.
I love that.
Another thing is automatic voter registration, and that gets into it's going to apply to enhanced driver's license. So if you're obtaining an enhanced driver's license or you're renewing your enhanced driver's license, you would be automatically registered. So again, getting you on the rolls. Of course, there is an opt-out option, but it's going to help to obtain that goal of getting as many people registered as we can.
That's
and of course, once we get them registered, we really want them to vote.
Yep.
So it's more than just registering, it's voting as well.
So in this last minute, what else can you tell us?
I think one of the things that's important is two things I want to talk about. One is we put in some more ballot drop boxes.
Good.
So we added 9 additional ballot drop boxes, makes our total to 43. So we now go from the mountain to the sound. So there's a number of those. Visit our website or look at your voter's pamphlet. We also have a civic app that is available that will show your nearest drop box. You can also use that civic app to make sure you're registered, and there's also a link on there to register to vote.
Great.
So those are a couple of important things.
All right.
One last bill that passed was a write-in bill. So if you are wanting to run as a write-in candidate, you need to file a declaration of candidacy. If you don't have a declaration of candidacy for us, those write-in votes will not count.
All right. And of course, we've been showing a website where you have all the FAQs, as we say, listed. I want to say thank you to you and your team and all the volunteers and all of those roles that are filled within your office, and of course, League of Women Voters to help this important passage that we have. You remove all the barriers. I just want to say thank you so much because it is the one thing that we all need to do. So thank you so much, and thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you.
My pleasure.
I urge and encourage everyone to be a Pierce County voter and be a City of Tacoma voter.
That's right. There we go. Well, that wraps up another great segment of CityLine. It is always a pleasure and privilege to be in your home. We have given you some amazing things to think about in this past hour. So go out there, be a part of the tapestry, and vote. And when you come back, as always, we'll be waiting for you right here at CityLine. Take care.